Every great invention starts with a simple question. In this case, the question was, what if you could send money the same way you send a text message? It wasn't asked in Silicon Valley, not in London, not in Tokyo. It was asked in Nairobi, Kenya, on the streets where people sold fruit by the roadside, paid school fees in cash, and carried their savings in envelopes. And from that unlikely place came one of the most disruptive financial ideas the world has ever seen. An idea that would later be copied, studied, and scaled across continents. But when the world started counting billion-dollar fintech stories, the name Africa was missing from the credits. In the early 2000s, Kenya faced a problem that most of the world barely understood. Millions of hardworking people had no access to banks. Opening an account required documents many didn't have, and in rural towns, the nearest branch could be hours away. So when Safaricom, Kenya's largest telecom company, and Vodafone began experimenting with mobile payments, they weren't chasing innovation. They were solving a survival problem. The first version was small, a pilot program in 2005 aimed at helping microfinance clients repay loans by phone. But what started as a loan repayment system became something much bigger. By March 2007, they launched it officially as M-PESA. M for mobile, Pesa, the Swahili word for money. The idea was simple. Use your phone to send and receive cash instantly, no bank required. And that simplicity changed everything. Within the first month, over 20,000 Kenyans had joined. By the end of that year, more than 1 million were using it every day to pay bills, send money to family, or buy food at the market. For the first time, people didn't need a building to bank. They only needed a phone and a SIM card. That was Africa rewriting the rules of finance. And the world was watching. Because the logic everywhere else was get a bank account first, then go digital. Kenya flipped that logic. They said, go mobile first, and the bank will follow you. It worked.
Look at this, what do you think? Interesting. Let me see.
Studies between 2008 and 2012 confirmed what many Kenyans already knew. Mobile money didn't just make life easier. It changed the economy. Researchers found that platforms like M-PESA reduced transaction costs, increased financial inclusion, and even lifted around 2% of households out of extreme poverty. Think about that. A piece of technology, powered by necessity, pulling people out of poverty without loans or aid. Just access. But here's where the story gets painful. While other countries copied the model, few remembered who started it. Today, mobile wallets in Asia, Latin America, and even Europe run on principles first tested in Kenya. Yet in the global story of fintech innovation, the credit often goes elsewhere, to sleek offices, Western startups, and billion-dollar venture funds. Meanwhile, the agents in rural Africa, the shopkeepers, the motorbike riders, the farmers, those who built the foundation of this financial revolution, still struggle for fair recognition. The intellectual property, the headlines, the profits, most of that traveled elsewhere. But the truth stands. The mobile money revolution didn't descend from the West. It rose from the ground up in Africa, from people who needed a way and refused to wait for permission. Today, M-PESA has over 50 million active users across several African nations. That's more than the entire population of Spain. And yet, in boardrooms and documentaries, many still speak of Africa as a market, not a source. But that's the real twist, isn't it? Innovation doesn't always come from glass towers and venture capital. It often begins where people have no other option but to innovate. So when the world talks about digital banking, financial inclusion, and the cashless future, remember where the blueprint came from. It came from Nairobi. It came from the streets. It came from Africa. This is not just Kenya's story. It's a message to every young mind on this continent. You don't need to wait for the world to notice before you create, because sometimes the ideas born in scarcity end up feeding the world's abundance. Innovation may travel, but where it begins deserves to be remembered.